I get followed by this sports agency shortly after Jayson Jenkins is announced to go to the transfer portal, which now we've learned that he's not going to go to the transfer portal. So I thought the timing was a little bit odd, so I looked into it, and it was reported by Matt Zenith, defensive lineman, AP Sports Agency, not the Associated Press Sports Agency, but another one, I assume, told 247 Sports that this young man, who you know is one of your top Tennessee defensive linemen, well, at least at the bottom of that echelon, but a guy that's a redshirt sophomore and could contribute, is suddenly headed towards the portal. But no quotes from him. No quotes at all. I look at this Twitter profile for this agency, and it says, quote, the #1 agency specializing in NIL. And it also calls itself worldsbestagency.com. Well, that website doesn't exist. I think Jayson Jenkins got steered. I think that Jayson Jenkins got steered for the benefit of a NIL collective group that is, don't think of Spire Sports. That's a whole different level. But an NIL collective group that is essentially a food truck compared to Spire Sports and compared to the big boys that are in the sport, the 12th man, if you want to pick that at Texas A&M. I think Jayson Jenkins' career almost got seriously screwed up because somebody wanted to make a little bit more money. Caleb, tell me I'm wrong.
You're not wrong at all. This is a scam agency. A&P Sports Agency has, guys, I want to bring this up to you. They're leaking stuff across the country right now about different players. You're seeing On3 and 247 report things saying A&P Agency told them this. A&P Agency told them this. They have 692 followers on Twitter. They're following 592 people. That's not a normal agency. So I just pulled up an article that's a feature that's been done on them by On3. A&P Agency was apparently started by two people involved with Texas A&M, Stephen Aguilera and Jacob Piasecki. And Aguilera had created the Aggie Zone, a social media account and magazine, and partnered with Piasecki, who created the Class Chat app and spent time working in social media and cryptocurrency and is an NFT guy. That's who's running this agency. Okay? They're trying to get out ahead in college football, which is fine. You want to, if you see an emerging market, that you do that. And their way to do that is to do things like leak stories about Jayson Jenkins or other players like that they think they could steer somewhere and make some money off of. This is everything Nick Saban ranted about with college football years before NIL became a thing, where agents just go out of their way that aren't even real agents but are trying to become agents, and they try to get these athletes early and often, and they try to poach these college athletes and oftentimes screw over their eligibility. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say, yeah, they lied on Jayson Jenkins. I owe Jenkins an apology because I wrote an article Monday saying why he would have entered the portal. And then I said on Tuesday when he backed out, I said, we debated over whether or not you should even let a player back in who backed out. He didn't back out of anything. This agency just made this up, I think, and did it so they could try to get their names out there.
Yep, I agree. And this is why, and I want to take a second to thank our friends at the Hemp House, the premier hemp dispensary online with a wide variety, great selection, and strict standards to ensure you only receive the best in CBD or Delta products. Hemp House Chat with 2Ts.com, Hemp House Chat with 2Ts.com. Use the promo code HOOKED for 10% off. Hooked, 10% off. This is why people say, oh, just let the NCAA continue to be the governing body of college football and everything's going to be fine. And I say, tisk, tisk, look at what can happen. This thing went off the rails, absolutely off the rails, because the NCAA didn't do anything. So what are they going to do now that agents are going to get involved? Probably nothing. That's why you have to have somebody that's more powerful, whether that's a conglomeration of the SEC or the Big Ten, or it's just one or the other, and they agree to that, whatever it is. I'm not trusting the NCAA and this new guy that was hired to replace Mark Emmert to be in charge of something so important as a player's eligibility. That matters something to me. I'm players first. I don't know that this new NCAA will be.
No, well, the NCAA has, let's be fair, the NCAA has absolutely never been players first in the history of, and maybe when it was founded by Teddy Roosevelt in 1907, but even that was because, for those who don't know, it was founded because the college football was about to be banned as a sport because so many players were dying, and then they decided, well, we don't care about players dying, but we don't want the sport to be banned, so let's form this NCAA to kind of figure out a way to protect them from dying. That's really why it formed, guys. So from their inception, every motive by the NCAA has been nefarious. But yes, they're in this situation. This is something they could do to maybe, we talked a couple of weeks ago about things they could do to save face. This is one of them. If the NCAA got involved in regulating agents, no one's really going to stop that, are they? No one's going to complain about that.
No, what's going to happen is that the kids are going to get caught in the middle, and that's an absolute shame, but that's exactly what's going to happen.